Overly dramatic music for absolutely no reason, but we all like to be overly dramatic at times. Hey, y'all, happy Sunday. Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to this Sunday's live Q&A. I have a special guest today that I'll introduce in just a second. Um, yeah, I hear the dark side, says Wendell. If you are new here, we do this every Sunday from noon till whenever. Pacific time, 3 till whenever. Uh, Eastern time. And I also have to tell you, in order to participate in our live chat, you need to have been subscribed to my channel for at least one day. We do that to filter out all of the bots and trolls and spammers and other stuff, and it works. So if you can't participate in the chat, I'm sorry. Subscribe for at least one day, then we can get it over with. Then you can participate in the chat, rather. Not we can get it over with. You'll have to pardon me. My train of thought derailed for a second there. My special guest today is Nick French from Big Nick's Design. You'll find a link to his YouTube channel and his social media, etc., down in the description of this live stream. And we're going to get into a few things that I think you're going to find interesting. But first, I have to give a shout out and say hello to my friend Steve over at harneilmedia.com. I know I harp on it. I've been singing his praises uh, since forever, but that's how passionate I am about Steve and Harneil Media. If you're even toying with the idea of a website, a web store, maybe you have some ideas for merch that you want to create and sell. Maybe you're sick and tired of listing fees and commissions from some of these third party sites you sell through. There's no better way than to eliminate all of that junk and get with Steve over at Harneil Media and set up a website. He can do as much or as little as you'd like. If you're a seasoned veteran and know how to run a website, he can back off and handle all the things behind the scenes. If you're like me and have absolutely no idea what you're doing when it comes to a website, he can take care of all or a percentage of it. I mean, that's between you and Steve. And that's one of the great things about Harneo Media. He will work with you, and it's 100% personalized service. So do yourself a favor, head over to harneilmedia.com. You'll find a link in every description of every video and every live stream on this channel. And it's that way for a reason. Get over there, hit that contact us link, and shoot Steve a message. You won't be sorry. That's harneilmedia.com. Thank you very much, Steve, for everything you do, and you're appreciated more than you'll ever know. So, Big Nick, welcome to the big broadcast.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Now, some folks may not know you or know what you do, how you do it, or why you do
Okay.
it. Um, so we'll get started. I found you basically through the YouTube algorithm. I was searching for something. I don't even remember what it was. And then one of your videos came up. And in fact, I'm going to share my screen and show which video that was. And we'll, no, I said I wanted to spotlight. There we go. This is Nick's YouTube channel. Get on over there and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. He's got a criminally low subscriber count. We can do better than that, folks. Um, it was this video all the way down here. Yabba dabba dabba. Come on,
I
keep
probably should
going.
pin it. Probably should
See,
pin it.
uh, he's got
There.
um, he's got some fantastic videos here showing various techniques. But this is the one that hooked me, and I mean, you had me hooked like a trout with this one. Uh, it was very succinct, as you can see. It's 7 minutes 20 seconds, But you do in 7 minutes and 20 seconds what it takes me 30 minutes to do in a video. You explained very simply how to photo V-carve with wave vectors.
Yeah.
And that in 7 minutes, 20 seconds. And it was, I don't think I overstate to say that it was succinct, it was to the point, and it was effective. Um, and I, for
Thank you.
one, appreciate that greatly.
I was just trying to film something that I was looking for myself. Once I kind of figured it out, I was like, well, might as well make something and put it up there and share it.
Well, I for one appreciate it. And if you now this is a little bit of cheating on my part. I did not link that video because I think everybody needs to head over to Nick's YouTube channel and explore it. Now I linked his channel, but to me it's like a treasure hunt. You get over there and you start looking, and it's like, holy cow, man, what is this guy doing?
I've done a few, done a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you've got quite the catalog over here.
Yeah.
But before we get into specifics,
Yeah.
um, what got you started in this?
Well, I was looking for a hobby, and
Mm,
I don't know if we can get into it, but I was looking. I quit drinking, right?
mm,
And so I was looking for something healthy, and I was always a woodworker. I was a carpenter
mhm.
by trade, and YouTube late night. I think it was right at the beginning of COVID,
Yeah.
and
Oh.
yeah, so it was just kind of like I was going to the gym. I was trying to find something fulfilling. I mean, not that being healthy isn't great, but I just wasn't hitting the spot, and I was looking for other things, and I was just a little worried that temptation was going to creep back in. So I wanted to kind of fill that void, and a CNC video popped up on YouTube, and I just thought, man, that's really cool looking, and it was I don't know if I can name the brand. Is it all
Yeah,
right?
go ahead.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I got a Onefinity. I eventually got a Onefinity, but what it was, they had the little Xbox controller, and not that I use that now to to 100% advantage, but that's what got me, man. I was like, dude, that's like a robot. And I had some
Exactly.
idea, I had some ideas that just like popped in my head from when I saw it, and I go, I want to do things like that and incorporate them into my carpentry. And I had some I do a lot of doors and windows, and I just thought I could do like kids' bedroom door frames, and I can personal and they can paint them when they get home. They can like do like a parent can like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just an idea I had, and and so I just started thinking about that a lot, and I go, man, that's really cool, and I just ended up buying one, man. Took a chance and got one and learned the software and
Mhm.
not the photo like the design stuff I kind of already had with Photoshop, and I've used to I used to build signs too
Okay. Okay.
for a graphic design shop, not like wood signs, but just like designing on
Mhm.
vector graphic stuff in
Okay.
AI.
So you were already more or less used to the design process
Yeah,
in other programs.
yeah. I've always and so like I saw I could make stuff with my designs, so
Mhm.
I saw that I can go from print to like a 2.5D
Mhm.
type of design, and I thought I was gonna do like carnival scenes over like a door frame, like instead of a door
Oh,
casing.
nice. Yeah.
So it was going to be you take your door casing off, and this would be your new door casing, and it would be, the left side would be like a measuring stick, and the right side would be the ABCs, and then
Yeah.
across the top it would be whatever. You guys could steal this idea too, so run with it. But it was just just and then like leave them unpainted, and then have them engraved, like almost color by shape or whatever. And you would just look at
Yeah.
your, and then you'd paint it in, kind of what I do now, but you
Mhm.
know.
That's
Anyways,
an awesome idea. You know
yeah,
what?
well,
I never would have thought of something like that.
yeah, and then just flat pack it or something because
Mhm.
you're if you do it on MDF, it only max would be 3/4 thickness,
Right.
unless you want. So anyways, you could do a lot there, and so that was my initial like dream.
Mhm.
And then when I got the machine, I figured, man, I thought it'd be really easy to learn how to like sculpt, but I
Mhm.
didn't have the money to buy the upgrade to Aspire. So I
Right.
started off in Vectrix, and so I go, well, I'll just start here.
Mhm.
And you get your first couple carves in, you're like, oh, this is really neat. A lot of pocketing and a lot of just little V carves and things like that,
Yeah.
names and signs and welcome signs for your front porch, and
Hmm.
just the real
Yeah.
general, because I'm still learning the software, and then I
Well,
just took a chance on on a photo carve, and that was kind of that.
well, there's a lot of instant gratification in making those kind of signs because it you number one, you prove to yourself that you can do it.
Yeah,
And number two, the mind starts going with other things. You know,
yeah.
you may, and I discovered that as well because I got a CNC router to start making parts for guitar builders.
Ooh,
And I started into CNC and I did the same as you. I made the signs and I made this, that, and the other. And it just kind of morphed. 10 years later, I haven't made a single guitar part on the, well, I made one guitar part on a CNC router for a friend back in Washington, D.C. And that was it. I never got back to what I initially wanted to do because I found out the field opened up so wide,
yeah,
you know. And okay, well, you already answered a couple of my questions. You do come from a woodworking background already,
yeah,
so that was kind of, established. But what made you start specializing? And I don't know if you specialize in it, I'm assuming, because that's what I'm seeing by your channel.
yeah.
What made you start specializing in photo V-carves and negative space signs like the ones behind you?
Okay. Well, I mean, for the photo V carves, what it really came down to was repeatability. I wasn't finding a whole lot of information on the finishes and the spacing. There was a few little videos that had some spacing, but they didn't explain why. And if you go on to like even the tutorials, they're kind of vague in that one. They don't go real deep. It's just kind of an option, and they kind of glance over it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've made some sense. I'm not gonna, not knock them or anything. I think they're kind of realizing they have a gem there compared to other
Hmm.
software companies.
Right.
But it was really just coming down to I needed something that I needed to be able to repeat it, and I just had to do a lot of testing.
Yeah.
Um, I
And
wasn't
then
really, yeah. Go ahead.
and then you came up with certain techniques and certain methods that you could repeat and you knew you could get a good
Yeah.
product with, correct?
Yeah, so I mean, at first I had to deal with the wood, and
Mhm.
getting just repeatability on wood was difficult. One piece of poplar seemed to carve really nice at the beginning for me.
Mhm.
I've done a lot of maple and cherry. My issue was just being able to get an expensive piece of wood and not be afraid to attack it with
Yeah.
those small little bits and those really thin lines
Hmm.
and those little ridges. Because unless you can finish it really well, if you don't get the details in, you're especially in the wood, and you're already battling the wood grain,
Yeah.
and there's just a lot of things. So I just was like, well, what do I do? And then there wasn't anything on MDF at the
Hmm.
time because everybody wanted to kind of carve on maple and stuff. So the limited YouTube videos were like a one timer,
Hmm.
and that wasn't going to fly for what I wanted. So MDF it was. And then
Yeah.
I found some bits that worked well. And at first I was doing the techniques that the few videos that I did see was spray paint, things like that. And then I ran it once I got that I was able to carve what I needed on MDF. Then I started working on the finishes.
Okay.
And so then my next issue was how do I get the finishes to look a lot nicer to where it's just I mean the start to where I started from to where it is now is just a huge difference, and you can tell just by the few little steps that it's just a couple little steps. It's nothing crazy.
And it's all through trial and error and
Yeah,
figuring out what worked for you. Okay.
yeah, and then then also just reaching out to other people that have had good success. I
Mhm.
don't none of this is I didn't come up with it. I was just testing it.
Yeah.
Putting it together in one package and then kind of helping people gain the confidence to use it.
Okay. And
Um,
that's the overall tone that I got from your YouTube channel. I mean, you did a live stream, excuse me. You did a live stream about 2 months ago called Photo Carve 101. That's a 3 hour live stream. But
yeah,
watching it, it was 100% worth it because you you went through, not only went through your process, but you talked about some of the lessons you learned starting from square one. Um, like you said, starting with spray paint. That's
Yeah.
probably where everybody starts. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. Well, it's everybody has it. You know, they're,
Hmm.
hey, I want to carve this real quick, and then they turn and then in their shelf they have a black can of spray paint,
Yeah.
and that's what I did. I did that for a while, and when I started noticing that I just wasn't getting the results I liked, I said I got to figure something else out.
And what was your solution to that?
Well, I went with I decided to start sealing them with something clear, and I went with first I tried shellac because that's what I had,
Hmm.
and then I started using that worked well, and then I still was using the spray paint.
Hmm.
And I still noticed that the spray paint was penetrating through the shellac. So then I started using another clear, like a spar urethane or something, just to kind of, because you know, you realize you're not spray painting cars. You know, you don't need
Hmm.
to have this beautiful finish. You just need to have it fill the valleys. You
Okay.
know, and you kind of a lot of times I think we get in our own way sometimes where we think it needs to look immaculate.
Hmm.
There's things that are going to help us along the process, and I think when you kind of get out of your own way, you understand how it all works together, and that's hopefully that's the confidence I can help people with today is kind of
Okay.
seeing all the trouble before it arrives, and then going
Yeah.
through it. But so that's what I was sorry, going back to that, that's what I was recognizing was I just wasn't getting the finish because I was having to sand too far, and that's one of the issues people have is they either sand too far or not nearly enough, and it's
Yeah.
because of the spray paint. To be honest,
Okay.
I'm just going to be honest with them. It's a spray paint, um, and what it is, they start losing their detail, and what they're afraid of is because of the depth of that spray paint that went in
Hmm.
to the peaks because it's in the valleys, but
Hmm.
you also got to remember it's going to move to the left and the right, not just down.
Yeah.
So it's just going to it's alcohol, so it's going to penetrate all ways, not just in the valley going down. Like, you know what I mean? If you're in the
Yes, I do.
valley, for those that are listening, it's not just going to go down, it's going to fill the valley and then fill that peak as well. And that's what we're trying to avoid. And I think a lot of people don't know to test that, I guess. And so,
Yeah.
long story short, I realized it was a spray paint that was the biggest issue because the sanding, I sand with a 120. I go hard, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. I
because I
saw in
don't
a
have
couple
to.
of your I saw in a
Yeah.
couple of your videos you were going 80 grit.
Yeah, it's because when I don't have to, when I know that I just have to kiss the surface,
Hmm.
that's all I got to do, and I got to try to take it off as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I sand typically with a 120 now,
Hmm.
but I mean, we use that good sandpaper, the exact
Yeah. The
extract, whatever,
Cubitron. Yeah.
the Cubitron, which is great on flat surfaces,
Hmm.
um, like the photo cars. But yeah, the I that's when I realized that just wasn't getting the finishes. So then I had a quart of black paint, you
Hmm.
know. And so I brushed it on at first. So I used I put the shellac back down, um, and I switched back because I was realizing that I was sanding better to the peaks as opposed to the spar urethane
Hmm.
with the shellac because it's more of a
Okay.
sacrificial coating than
Right.
it doesn't penetrate like the spar urethanes or any of the other clears. So that was another test. So
Okay.
once I realized um, I can use it as a sacrificial coating and then still have that certain, and then that helped with the drying times. So production wise,
Yeah.
that was a big boost. And then price wise, I was able to get shellac quite a bit cheaper, and it sprays so much quicker and nicer. And you can brush it on too. I use chip brushes as well on for videos for video length.
Yeah.
But when in production, I just take it outside and 5 seconds, I'm done
Spray
spraying
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the reality of it. Obviously,
Hmm.
there's TV and then there's the
Yeah.
production part of it. Uh,
Exactly.
for content. So I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I don't film. I don't.
Hmm.
There's a lot of stuff that I don't. And I've talked to you in the past about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But once I
You can't film every step.
no,
If you're ripping boards down, you don't have to film
yeah,
ripping every board. The first
yeah.
one, we got it.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be judged. I don't mind being the pro with what I know, but I do
Yeah.
some off the wall things. I don't want to be judged on. You know,
Well, yeah, I mean, because you also have to deal with the YouTube safety patrol.
exactly.
Well, you got your hands a little close to that table saw. Dude, I'm a foot away.
Yeah, and
It's
the other
called
platforms,
camera angles.
YouTube's pretty relaxed in some aspects. I'm on another platform, and
Yeah,
that one is real strict, and I don't mind it. You just have to learn how to play the game.
yeah,
So,
this is true.
um, so once I going back to it, going back to Schlack and then
Hmm.
house paint, um, and with my normal settings, I did a carve and I did a side by side to test, and I was blown away. I was like, wow. Even myself, I was like, wow, this is so much easier. And it was kind of one of those. I hope this works on the next one. I hope it wasn't like a
Yeah.
fluke.
Hmm.
Because I hope it wasn't just for this picture. Because
Right.
I know a lot of people will have like they'll do it works great for two. Well, I guess not great, but it works in two ways. They either do a photo carve and it comes out great, and then they can't replicate it
Hmm.
because they did spray paint or whatever, and it's not necessarily the picture, but it
Yeah.
can be the picture. Could have been the finish. And then you do another one, and because the picture has changed, you copied what you did before, but because the spacing's different or the angle's different, or you let it dry longer and more spray paint got in or whatever, you sanded it exactly the same, and then your second photo carve is horrible, and then
Yeah.
that's a discouragement. But it's like you started off not knowing how to begin with, and I did that too,
Yeah.
and that's what the whole process was to eliminate that and then to share it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is you either start off wrong and then you never try it again.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true. And you know what? That is one of the big things that I wanted to talk to you about because I have seen videos where folks will try a photo V-carve and they stop right there. It comes off the machine and it looks like nothing. And they're like, well, that didn't work. Why am I even trying with this? Or they'll do two or three and try to adjust settings and this, that, and the other. And it's like, you're the first step into the process. You got to
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah.
It would, am I wrong in saying that photo V carves straight off the machine look like trash?
Oh,
You will
absolutely.
you have to keep going. You have to paint them before they look like anything.
Oh yeah, they're optical illusions.
Hmm.
Our brains are filling in a space. You're having so the issue I think a lot of people have, and I did too, is you're also looking at wood grain,
Yeah.
right? Because a lot of people aren't trying on it. The MDF is kind of that no one wants to use it, but I'm
Hmm.
telling you, folks, when you produce good results, they're not going to care if it's on cherry or MDF. They want to see their grandpa's face. They
Yeah.
want to
Yeah.
see
True
they
that.
want to see their puppy. They want to see their Aunt Sue. They
Hmm.
want to see their son and making that really cool tackle. They want to see all the blades of grass and the detail. They don't care if it's oh look at this piece of cherry. Well, who's that in the picture? That looks like junk. You know
Yeah.
that especially if I guess if you're I think of it more on the business side too,
Yeah.
and I apologize for that, guys. Um,
Well, no,
but it's like I like the result.
no
Yeah,
apologies needed. If you've
yeah,
got a good result that people like, you're doing it right. I
yeah.
mean,
I
that's
just
just
I just like to explain because there's a lot of guys out there also that are like, well, you can do them on maple, and yeah, you can, but you also have done them on maple. They haven't,
yeah.
and so that's like the issue is you haven't. You have to. I can walk you through MDF.
Hmm.
I mean, the only difference we're gonna have. I mean, you can even buy the same bit. I mean, we can run the same machine. We can really duplicate stuff with MDF,
Hmm.
and a CNC,
Yeah.
as opposed to the piece of maple that I have and the piece of maple that you have.
Right.
As long as you're trammed in really well, and you are confident in your machine that's true. We can talk about numbers. And your software is going to give you maybe our times will be a little different,
Hmm.
right? Because we have different. I run a spindle and you might have a router, but the RPMs are the same and we can get the same bits. That's kind of where I am. That's what I
Yeah.
want to be able to duplicate in those
Yeah.
regards. And so the information that I pass out is for repeatability because I think once you see how awesome you can make them, you're going to be like, man, it's worth it. Especially at the price with MDF.
Yeah.
You know,
Um,
it's a little less risky.
Speaking of the price of MDF, you use a lot of reclaimed or recycled materials, don't you?
Oh, I get a lot of donations.
Oh, so you have people dropping off MDF on your porch or something, huh?
Well, I use a lot. I purchase the MDF. I do the photo carves on. I purchase all that.
Mhm.
So I don't. As far as the reclaimed, I use the reclaim for the stuff behind me because I
Mhm.
donate a lot.
Okay.
That's like just part of our ministry. But on the because I just don't know where they got the MDF from.
Yeah. Understood.
And I've had better results getting certain thicknesses of MDF over certain kind.
Yeah.
And I've even had people reach out and say, "Man, I've had such great luck." And I go, "Yeah, I get that, but like, go get another board."
Hmm.
That's how many we're doing. Is that like
Yeah.
that's how I'm basing my consistency is not just on one sheet of MDF. It's
Right.
that whole batch. I'll go to Home Depot and I can almost kind of tell by looking at the MDF. If it's not the right color, it's not going to carve well. Like
Okay.
we do enough, and that's kind of
Yeah.
the but we can still make it happen.
Yeah.
And so if I
Yeah.
can control that, so the donated stuff, I do the carvings behind me.
Hmm.
And so, the way that I get that reclaimed wood is, um, well, it can't, well, it didn't happen because I did it. I went to go buy some and
Hmm.
told the gentleman what I was doing with it and so we carve a lot of, Christian artwork and I give a lot of that away as part of my ministry because I like to put the word of God in people's hands.
Hmm.
So I kind of trick them into reading it. Here you go, here's a gift, and they read it, and it's a different way of sharing the gospel, and
Okay.
um, and so one day I went to go pick up some MDF in another town, and the Lord spoke to me, and I gave the guy a sword that I had carved, and it was
Hmm.
just a MDF, one sided, had the word of God as the sword of the Spirit,
Hmm.
and Ephesians, and he just started. He looked at it, and it hit him, and
Hmm.
he wasn't a godly guy, but he something in that phrase hit him, and he's like, I didn't know you were doing that. So he gave me all the wood and gave me everything else he had and anything else that came. He's basically a like a speaker shop, and
Wow.
so all the additional stuff they get, all the remnant pieces, and some other big sheets. So I'm basically kind of tied in there, but it was all because I stepped in faith.
Hmm.
I didn't go over there with the intentions. I was just buying. I was going to buy a scrap.
Yeah.
And I even talked him down. Yeah,
Hmm.
he wanted $100 for a bunch of MDF, and it's been sitting a while. It was
Hmm.
on Marketplace, and I go, hey man, I know it's been up there for 4 months, and you take this much for it. I cut him in half because that's all I had,
Yeah.
and I just thought, man, in my mind, I go, I can carve 150 swords with that.
Hmm.
I already had
Okay.
it all planned out, and but the plan was to carve 150 swords and then go around the city here and hand them all out to the kids,
Yeah.
and then on the backs of them, I was going to write. Um, Meet at the park at 7 p.m. like a big old battle.
Yeah. 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 There you go.
But
Yeah.
uh, I haven't done that for safety purposes.
Yeah. That's the there is liability.
Liability. But that was it. But see, I went out there and it all worked that way, right? And so there was
uh,
all a divine appointment. But yeah, that's so we get the reclaimed wood that way.
oh,
But
okay.
it frees up the wood for me to do more photo carbs. But
And
yeah,
you know what? I was raised by people who lived through the Great Depression. Well, half raised, and when I'm talking about my grandparents on my mother's side, and it was driven into my head: repurpose, reuse, recycle from a young age. I'm
yeah,
64 years old, so I got involved in that kind of thing. I was kind of voluntold to do this, just growing up, and I have always been in love with the idea of taking something that somebody was going to throw away and making something nice with it, or using it, turning a waste product into something that somebody would want or hold precious. I
yeah.
love that concept. I love that idea.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I don't
so
got no money. There's no
well,
money in it.
whether you got the money or not, I mean, I was lucky enough to on the free section of Craigslist one day, I was lucky enough to get 16 solid cherry cabinet doors and drawer fronts because the guy was remodeling his kitchen and he didn't want that style anymore.
Yeah.
And that that lumber went into projects that I gave my grandkids, that made for around the house and things of that nature. So, it
Yeah.
was just going to go to the landfill. But if I can turn it
Exactly.
into something that somebody wanted, actually wanted, I've done my job, you know.
Yeah. I mean,
So
speaking on that, I saw someone in the questions too said that, like the beginning, if we had a lot of resources to start off with,
yeah, I was going to get
as
into those.
I was, as I saw that, and it made me think at the beginning. I'm a pretty resourceful guy. I like to purchase. I'm on Marketplace quite a bit, or Craigslist. I'm always looking
Mhm.
for tools.
Yep.
I was flipping table saws for a while. People didn't want to put the elbow grease and take the rust off. Man, vinegar is amazing.
Yeah.
But anyways, I regress. But that's how I would get a lot of my supplies. I would find pieces. So like, there's a guy that would get like cutoffs, and actually, I have one. This is like actually one of my very first carves. I These are all 6 by 12, or yeah, no, these are 14, right? But these are all remnant pieces. And I ended up cutting, so I ended up getting like 1,000 of these for like $50, right?
Yeah.
Because in my
Uh,
mind, I'm thinking, well, I could carve a bunch of stuff, and it ended up being a lot.
exactly.
I ended up getting a lot of firewood because
Well, but
I'll go camping. I go, hey, just go get some pieces, because I was like, well, I could take them camping too.
yeah, and see, I have no philosophical issue
Yeah.
with destroying a piece of material that somebody else was going to throw away. Free wood is the perfect wood to learn on.
Oh yeah, that's it.
And
That's
I
all.
mean, I can't count the number of old fence boards I chewed up on my first CNC router learning how to use the ding dong thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
That's how I started. It was all scrap pieces, and then even
mhm,
being a trim carpenter, we had a contract with one of the big box stores, so we would get all of our supplies there. And every once in a while, they'd give us like some nice pieces of wood, and so I'd go,
uh-huh,
and whatever was left, we got to keep. So I was all right,
mhm,
so I had a little stockpile of pieces of poplar. Not that poplar is high end, but it's not pine, and so
yeah,
it's like the next
yeah.
level up that
Well,
you can actually carve and get some good,
mhm,
especially with a down cut V bit
mhm.
or any compression, but you can get some real nice edges with poplar, and sign making works well.
Well, I have I hesitate to say a love hate relationship because it's mainly hate with poplar that goes back a few decades. And I don't like working with it at
It's great. It's great for
all.
vcarve. It's great for photo carves.
It
If I
has
had to
its
choose,
place.
if I had to choose a real wood, that's what I was going to
Mhm.
tell everybody. If I had to choose a real wood to do a photo carve on, it would be my next one would be poplar, because that's usually what I get asked. What would you go? And then it would probably be maple.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
know a couple of Photo V carvers who agree that the flattest, plainest, blah, boring maple you can get is the best to use.
yeah.
But we all have our favorites, you
Oh yeah.
know. So it's just a personal thing with me and poplar.
Oh yeah.
It really is. It doesn't hold fasteners. It doesn't take a finish worth a ding dong. It'll take paint.
It's
So
green. Turns
you know.
green.
Oh, I've seen everything from snow white to avocado green to bruised purple in the same 12 inches of one board.
I did one. I sent out to Arizona for a lowrider car club, and I actually painted. It was one of the first ones I actually did just more than black. I painted all the headlights like a
Hmm.
yellow to kind of be bright.
Yeah.
And when they got it, because of the Arizona heat, that it turned green on them, and that yellow and that green, man, it was horrible. That turned out to be a waste.
Yep. That's poplar.
But it's such a
Uh,
beautiful carve.
Michael Ludwig says all of my best photo carves were poplar. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
hey, other people have great outcomes with poplar, and poplar has
I'm
its
willing to
place.
try on different woods. My problem is I'm not willing to charge, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
and then result, especially when they bring in the wood too. You're like, oh, this,
Mhm.
you want me to do one on like this piece of walnut? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I
Me
mean,
too.
I mean, I don't mind. I'll do it, but let's,
Which brings
we could
about an
pick.
interesting point that I believe somebody asked when you were guest on the members only side.
Yeah,
Can't
become
think
members,
of it.
guys.
Um, Is this better? Is this technique better used on dark woods or light woods?
Light woods, because it's not a negative. Well, you're because you want the light to be at the surface, right? So
Mhm.
you're going to fill it. So even if the wood is a dark one, how are you going to create the contrast?
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
mean, I guess you could if you did a reverse image. I've seen some of those,
mhm,
almost like the litho panes.
yeah.
And I haven't done any litho panes. There's so much in the Vectric software I haven't even touched.
You and me
You know,
both. And
and
I've been
like you
using
guys,
it 10 years.
it's like I keep kicking myself in the butt. Like that's why I haven't even went to my first project because I haven't done any sculpting,
Mhm.
and I got so many ideas, and it's like,
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm
but
with you.
yeah, I forget where I was going, but what was I saying right before that?
Oh, we're talking
Because
about a negative kind of
yeah, so the litho
unlike
panes.
walnut. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess if you can, I've seen some really cool ones where they started off with like like a white MDF,
Hmm.
with the surf, like they painted it white,
Hmm.
and I mean, you'd have to deliberately go in with it being a negative, or they have the black MDF and they just spray paint the top white, and then when they
Sandbag.
carve it out, they leave it and they don't have to do any painting. That's kind of cool. I
Yeah.
just can't find any material, around me
We
that does that.
we have it here in the US, but it's expensive. It's all over Europe.
Yeah, the black MDF.
Various colors of MDF, the colors all the way through it.
Yeah,
It's all over Europe and it's not expensive at all. It's hard to find here,
yeah.
and when you do find it, it's expensive. I wish it would hurry up and get over here because the MDF manufacturers here in the US are missing a bet. They really are.
Well, you could tell because we don't use the dog holes like they do. Man,
Yeah.
they love their wasteboards. I mean, my tabletop here without the top on has all the holes. I
Yeah.
wish I had the black MDF.
Yeah, well, not just for construction purposes. I mean, well, actually, it is construction purposes, but you have people making various projects that use the different colors,
Yeah,
and
it
there's
looks
no
sweet.
painting involved,
Yeah, it looks
none
sweet.
at all.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it looks great. Okay, uh, let's get to a couple of questions here,
Yeah. Hey, Butcher.
because
See you later, Butch. He's got to run.
yep, Butch is
Sorry,
digging
Butch.
out. That's all right. Let's see here. Robert Dymock is asking, would you get better results with HDF, high density fiberboard?
I've tried. That's the lightweight stuff, isn't it?
No, it's in fact that's low density. The lightweight stuff is low density.
Is it?
Yeah.
I mean, I've tried different ones. If it's the, because you got to imagine, I get a lot of recycled stuff too.
Hmm.
So anything I always go to Home Depot because I know what I'm getting there.
Hmm.
But I have tried on different materials, and that's why I don't do it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I
Okay.
might have tried it on different stuff. I've tried it on things that look like MDF,
Hmm.
and I'm like, what was this? So that might have been what he's
Yeah,
talking about.
it's
So unless
possible.
I went and specifically bought that, I couldn't tell you what it was. But I strictly use the 3/4 inch. I don't like the 1/2 inch
Hmm.
MDF at Home Depot. Not even from neither of them from Lowe's. I can't
Yeah.
get maybe in your guys' area it might be a little different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I know
Yeah.
that they pull from different
Yeah. Every
manufacturers.
region is different and they have different
So
manufacturers and different shipping and all this other good stuff. But yeah.
you can still get good carves on it because ultimately, it's going to be the finishing that's going to separate you
Hmm.
from. It's going to be getting away from the spray paint
Hmm.
and just trusting that the shellac and the house paint's going to do the trick.
Okay, so let's get into that because that's important to talk about. In that the actual carve itself, I hesitate to say easy. Let's say simple. And remember, folks, simple does not equal easy.
Yeah.
The actual carving process in and of itself is relatively simple, but what's going to set it apart and what's going to make it come alive is the actual finishing process, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, once you can get past editing the photo,
Hmm.
right? But it's going to come down to the finishing. That's where I would say the majority, because the settings don't change much. So
Right.
once you figure out how to get your photos to where you like them, and
Hmm.
everybody's a little different. I don't mind helping people on those.
Hmm.
departments. It's just a few filters a lot of times on Photoshop or any of the other editing apps.
Yeah.
Once you kind of understand what you're really looking for in the photos,
Hmm.
and I explain that in a lot of the videos
Right.
that I have on my site. Once you kind of have an eye for that, it's the same way you have an eye for when you see it come off the CNC.
Hmm.
I can see it and be like, "Oh, that looks great." When other persons be like, "That looks like dog crap,"
Yeah.
because they don't know what the end result looks like.
Right.
I do look for chip outs, things like that. I can see them in advance. Heck, sometimes I can even hear them. Oh,
Yeah.
that came through the machine. That was a little too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah. Yeah. When it goes jumbling up through your dust collection hose,
I
it's
was
like,
gonna make
well,
a I was
that's
gonna make
not
a
going to grow
CNC
back.
YouTube. I was gonna make a YouTube video of like the face you make when you're carving an expensive piece of wood and you hear something go through the dust
Yeah.
collection.
Yeah. That's not going
Mine's right above me. I got this plastic tube,
to
so I could just
danger
hear the.
Will Robinson.
I go, that does not sound like that. Sound like a whole ridge.
uh,
Luckily on MDF I don't get those. See, I know that like that's what. Okay, anyways. So
yeah.
once you get your eye for the photos that you're doing,
Mhm.
and obviously it'd be nice to be able to take out like trash cans and beer bottles.
Mhm.
Sometimes you're getting photos um, from people's phones because that's the
Yeah.
only photos they have of these people,
Yeah.
right? You guys have to remember now, it ain't the days of old where everybody had Kodak and they went down and they got their film developed and you had a few blown up and there's a really memorable one on someone's uncle's wall. No,
Yeah.
everything's on the web now or on their
Mhm.
phone, and
Yeah.
so you're either getting something that your hope isn't pixelated. So if it's an old picture from like the MySpace days,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to resize it and touch it up. And there's a lot of great programs
Hmm.
and a lot of free ones. So whatever you use to resize and
Yeah.
AI has great stuff. Anyways, once
And,
you
and
once you figure out your photos and clean them up and know how to load them into the Photoshop and turn them into black and white images, get the highlights where you need them, and just watch the videos. There's a lot in there. A
yeah.
lot of it has to do with hairlines. I'll just give you that. It's about making the heads have contrast from the background. They could care less about the rest of the body as long as you can create a halo effect with a dark background. You're going to be all right.
Okay.
Um,
It so and suffice to say, not every photo is going to be a good photo.
no, not every photo. I always ask for a few. Um, and usually they don't have a whole lot to pick from. I do a lot of memorials. So I see a question there. Who's my base? Memorials. A lot of memorials. A lot of memorials.
Yeah.
Uh, Veterinarian hospitals. People love their pets.
Hmm.
If you get good at them and you can make small boxes, you can make urns. Obviously, you don't have to do photo carves on the little urns, but you could do them with a little 45-degree bit or a 30.
Hmm.
Once you figure it out, that you're going to start losing the smaller you go, the less detail you're going to have. Let's just be honest about it.
Okay.
So um, once you get past that, oh, it needs to be small. Well, then I know how to approach the customer. Well, if we go smaller, it might be better if we just go with the vector outline of something.
Yeah.
Let's change it from a Photo V-Carve to a really good, silhouette. You know
Yeah. Yeah.
and
So
then it's a little bit clearer, but
so that's a good rule of thumb. The smaller you go, the less detail you're going to have.
yeah. Or you're going to have to
Okay.
figure out how to finish a lot better
Yeah.
because the sanding is going to. So we'll get to the sanding
Hmm.
in a minute, but that's where you're either going to lose your detail or not, and that's where the spray painters lose it. So then those ridges start getting real thick, and then they get those real thin lines in those faces. Now just become really big, and so
Yeah.
those valleys are where the details at.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
once you start making those ridges wider and the valleys narrower, that you're doing the opposite of what the Photo V carve is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah.
just
That and
trying
that
to
makes
take that
sense.
very. Yeah, I mean, if you could get away with a card scraper, that
Hmm.
would be good.
Yeah.
If you can just scrape the very top off, that'd be awesome. But you
You
end up
kind of.
breaking. I break ridges that way. I've tried it. I
I
tried it, folks.
was just going to ask that. Don't you risk breaking a lot of those ridges?
Yeah, you
Okay.
could do it on MDF, but it's risky.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, there's so once we figure out the photo, we get the carve. The settings typically don't change much, other than bit size. So if you're going to go smaller, I would suggest going with like a 45 or even a 30-degree V bit.
Hmm.
Don't get the engraving ones because you do want that point at the bottom.
Yeah.
So
And
don't
that's a
get
good
the
distinction to bring up. You can tell the difference between a V-bit and engraving bit because a V-bit comes to a sharp point at the bottom.
yeah.
An engraving bit has a slight flat spot.
You can turn your V bits into engraving bits. Ask me
I think
how.
some of us have inadvertently by, when they fall down and test the tensile strength of my concrete floor
Hey
from
Cody,
about.
Cody, if you're watching, my first try was one of your '90s when you did the V bit, the down cuts. My very first one, I didn't put the magnet on the bit, and the bit just kept going and slammed into the probe.
Whoops.
On my very first usage, man.
So I'm not the only one that does that. Okay, great.
Did it.
Good to
But
know.
once we get, so once we get past we're comfortable with the photo part, and we're going to
Mhm.
carve. Like I said, those numbers don't change much, and even in my videos and most of the descriptions, I would say about 90%, 95% of my videos will have all of my parameters. So they'll have the depth of cut, the step over, the bit, the speed, the RPMs, all that. And obviously, some of that's going to be machine difference, but
Yeah.
um, I have the bit numbers. I should have I use SPE tools, speed tools.
Hmm.
They have a four flute 60-degree and a four flute 90 that I get really good. I get longevity out of those
Yeah.
on MDF. So
Yeah.
I'm
Let's talk about that for a second because
yeah,
MDF is a very abrasive material, and it will dull bits faster than you can say boo.
and that works to your advantage
Hmm.
because it keeps those ridges stronger,
Yeah.
right? And
Okay.
so it's that give and take.
Yeah.
So it's like you can get a $12 bit and get 20 really good carves out of it, you
Hmm.
know, and that's that trade off. He's like, okay, I'd rather have the good carves with that bit than
Yeah.
a really nice bit and the same amount of carves
Yeah.
because
Exactly.
you're not gonna gain much out of it.
So getting the same number of carves from a $12 bit as you would get from a $70 bit,
Yeah,
basically.
so I've tried a bunch of the same thing. You can just go ahead and trust me. I've done it. Not that and I think we all have our favorites, and I don't
Yeah.
use those ones on other carves, right? I have better bits,
Yeah.
what I mean. So I know
Yeah.
where to, I have all of, I use bits from all the companies. I got, SK1, I got Cody's, I even got IDC's.
Hmm.
I like them all. They all have their place, obviously,
Yes.
and so but I like to, cost wise, and you got to remember this is a business as
Hmm.
well too, and a lot of it because I give a lot away. I don't want to have to spend a lot to make things either,
Right.
you know.
Right.
So
Right.
it's cheaper.
Understood.
Yeah.
So
The built-in.
basically, it is the Speed Tool 4 flute V-bit.
Yeah.
Is
So it's the part number. I think on the top of my head is W06006.
okay. I will. I'll get with you when we're done, and I'll put that down in a
Yeah.
pinned comment when we're finished live
Yeah.
here. I'll
Yeah.
get
I
that
saw
number
some of
from you.
that.
So, okay. All right.
And then the 90-degree is, I mean, if you're clicking on their page or whatever, it'll be the next one over. It's
Okay.
both. They don't have a whole. It's a four flute.
Yeah. 60 and 90 degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And again, that's a $12 bit versus a $70 bit. And yes, it's going to get dull, but so is that $70 bit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have a friend in Australia. I call him a friend. I've never met the man face to face. I have a buddy in Australia who does inlays for luthiers. And he does like mother and pearl inlays on fretboards and guitar bodies and headstocks and what have you. And that stuff is so abrasive. And he's using such tiny, tiny bits to make these inlays that he just
Yeah.
buys them in 10 packs because he knows he's going to break bits. It's just going to happen.
Yeah.
So he buys the Kyocera bits, which are like $14 for a 10 pack
Yeah.
because he knows he's going to break them. And there's no sense in spending a lot of money on something that you know you're going to. It's like spending $20 per trash bag. It's
Yeah. You
just
can't do that.
it's just false
Can't do it.
economy.
You can't do it.
And
You
yeah,
can't.
it's not sustainable.
Well, it's not fair to the customer.
No, it's not.
You know.
because
Because
you
that,
have
I
to
mean,
charge for that.
what kind of, well, and then you're also supposed to be a pro, right?
Uh-huh.
I mean, if you're selling it, you're telling people you know what you're doing,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
kind of where the testing, that's where I do a lot of my testing because it's like, hey, man, if I want to ship these, I don't want it to get somewhere and then be like, what is this
Mhm.
crap?
Yeah.
Like this does not
Exactly.
look, this guy said he was sending me something that looked good, and
Yeah.
because obviously they all look good on camera. I can turn the angle of them and make them look
Mm.
pretty.
Oh yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of camera tricks.
oh yeah. One of the questions I see there too is AI for the upscaling. I mean,
I was just gonna do that.
I use Topaz. Um, I have an old version of their Gigapixel. I haven't upgraded much in a while, so I'm trying to save my resources. But I have an old version of their Topaz Gigapixel. But there's a bunch.
Yeah.
Um, you can. It doesn't take much. I mean, I was always a Photoshop guy. Like I said earlier, I worked at a graphic design shop. We did a lot of car wraps, things like that. So you'd always have to try to get small pictures on big things. And so you had
Yeah.
to try to figure out really how to get them, how to turn them into vector,
Yeah.
images so that you can upscale them and then take that and then convert them back into something that would be pixelized. You almost have to like reverse engineer a
Yeah.
vector image if you know how to
Yeah.
turn it.
Yeah.
What I mean, so then there's Vector Magic's another good one that I use for turning photos into vectors, blowing them up really big, and then pixelating them afterwards with smoothing techniques in Photoshop.
Yeah.
Um, and there's videos, and these are all things I learned on YouTube.
Yeah.
Like none of those techniques I developed. Those are just watch. I got to figure out how to make a photo bigger with before AI came out. Now
Yeah.
I just pop it
No.
into Topaz Gigapixel and it does it.
Well, the AI is good, but it also has its limits too. There's a rather famous slash infamous case on my members only side, hint, hint, where a gentleman sent a photo to another guy who was going to make a 3D model out of it. Well, unbeknownst to anybody, we didn't take this into consideration. He was wearing a baseball cap in the photo, and that put shade across his face.
Yeah,
And when the AI went to work with that photo, it couldn't pick out the face because of the contrast. So it just made up a face. And the resulting 3D model looked nothing like the guy who sent the picture because
yeah,
it had to make up a face. So again, not all photos are going to work
yeah.
or are going to come out the way you think they are. So,
Well, I want to clarify on that too. So the AI tools, it's just an upscaler. So the ones that what I use doesn't take your image and then remanipulate it back. It just upscales the photo. So
okay,
there is like, so I'm not dropping it like in Chat GPT and
right,
then asking it, hey, can you, do this or that.
right.
I'm just loading it into a software that analyzes the photo and
Mhm.
kind of guesses where the line was supposed to be.
Yeah,
It's basically a vectorizer in a way.
vectorizing. Okay.
Yeah, and so it upscales that way. But I know, but there are guys there. I mean, and not to say I haven't done it because I have done that too, and that's
Mhm.
why I know it doesn't work. I agree with you. The AI for the photo sides of it, I would say try to manipulate by hand still.
Mhm.
Um, but if you're hoping that it's gonna, hey, take this guy's face or do this, it's gonna create some errors for you.
Yeah, yeah,
The upscale, but like as far as what I use, it's just a software. It doesn't even hook up to the internet. Put
yeah.
you that way.
Okay, okay,
So it's just an
okay.
upscaler.
All right. Eighth Center is wondering, have you tried laser images?
No, as far as I don't own a laser. So
Okay.
as far as like maybe is that what he's asking if I try to laser the photo carves? Because if
Oh,
you were going to laser one, you could just laser the picture, right?
yeah, yeah.
Burn,
Truth,
burn the
truth
image
there.
like a straight one.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have a laser. I think a lot of people ask me when I take them out to the little country fairs that I go to and stuff.
Mhm.
The times I do take photo carves, um, they'll ask if it's lasered, and then I'll let them run their fingers across it like a record player, and I get to explain to them how it works and
Mhm.
its whole thing. So, but no, I mean, I guess you could use a laser. Try
I
it. Let me
mean,
know.
yeah, really, really. Okay. Wendell wants to know, have you tried Photo P? Now, I don't know what Photo P is. I don't know, is that an AI or is that an
I
image
haven't
adjust?
tried. I haven't tried any others. There's only one other software I've gotten halftones from to photo carve with. And so
Mhm.
if you, I don't know if you guys could let me turn my camera up a little bit. Let me
Let me make it all about you here. Go ahead.
if I pan up behind me, there's like the old. You can see that thing of Michael Jordan up there, right
Yeah,
here. So that's all dots. It's a halftone.
right.
So it's similar to a V carve. It's just an optical illusion.
Hmm.
But that's I've used. There's I think it was like halftoner.com,
Uh-huh.
and it's got a free part of it, and I actually paid for like a lifetime. It was like $10, so I just
Hmm.
paid for it. But I've done a bunch of the dot ones as well. I find that those are cool. People don't. My customers typically didn't want to go that route, even if I got them like a really cool looking image.
Okay.
So, but as far
Okay.
as other softwares, I don't know what that Photo P is. So
Okay.
if it's something like
Well,
Photo Carve,
Wendell says it's an online image editor.
I'm
Photo
sure
P
that'll
is
work fine to edit your images to Photo Carve.
okay.
You don't need to have
Okay.
Photoshop.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and I'm starting to sound like a broken record to some of my regular viewers, but if you're one of my regular viewers, you know what I'm going to say. It is important that you take a high resolution image, the highest resolution that you can get. And
Yeah.
if all you have is a 2 by 2 square photo, let me take this down so we can see both of us here. There we go. If all you have is a little 2 by 2 photo of great grandma, you're going to need some help in enlarging that
You can send it
because,
to me.
well, there you go. Nick has offered. And
If you're a subscriber to my YouTube channel, how about that?
there you
You
go.
send,
So, there you go. So, and there's a way
email
to
me
check.
and I'll do that.
There
Because
is a way to check.
yeah, I'm not really worried about it.
Yeah.
You'll see some of my videos are we're helping people. Those are just a fraction.
Yeah.
I get so many all the time, and usually
Yeah.
people are pretty gracious, but I usually get back to them within a day because it's when you do it, you do it. Like I
Yeah.
already know what I'm looking for, and a lot of times, I send them back something, and they'll be like, "Really?" I go, "Yep, just do it," and then
Yeah.
I'll get results, and they're like, "Holy wow!" I'm like, "Yeah, man, it's that easy," and
Hmm.
it really comes down to the shellac and the paint. So when we get to
Okay.
that part,
So yeah, we'll get to that now. We've been on almost an hour. Now we can start getting into let me get these excuse me. Let me get these last three questions here. Um, F Cupo is asking with regular wood, it's it's essential to level the top first.
yeah,
Level your surface. Is this necessary with MDF?
no, as long as I said is if your machine is trammed and your bits are flat because it's not we're just using the V, right, the
Hmm.
very 0.07 tip of it. So I mean if it's off like a billionth,
Hmm.
you're not going to notice it. Even if it's off
Yeah.
a degree, I mean maybe a degree. So there's a little bit of play there, but depth wise you're going to have issues. So if you're not getting the depth you need because your surface isn't flat, but MDF typically comes off
Yeah.
glass.
And
So that's the other positive.
that's one of the advantages of using MDF is it is a flat, stable surface.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless
So
it gets physically wet. If you got a hole in your roof and it gets wet, it's going to swell when it absorbs water. But if it's just laying like I have these shelves stacked up back here, they're
yeah.
plywood, by the way. If it's laying like that, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's another reason I don't use the donated stuff too,
Hmm.
because I can't, if it's, I can't be 100% certain it didn't get wet or it wasn't in humidity
Hmm.
and didn't take on, some sort of moisture because once you start carving it, you'll know when you carved into something that got wet before, especially
Yeah,
on MDF.
yeah.
It'll show itself when you go to just brush off with a little wire brush.
Mhm.
You'll notice the difference, you know.
That was another little trick that you will glean from Nick's videos, by the way. And we'll get into that in just a second here. Rick May is wondering, and I think I know, do you use Oracal or any of the masking products at all?
Heck no, dude. What are you talking about, bro? You know how much fun that would be to peel off?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
But I mean, I do use it for certain jobs, just not
Uh-huh.
those. And I
Yeah,
use the cheap stuff, man.
yeah,
I'm the big roll cheap guy. I'm looking at it. It's up on the shelf up there.
yeah.
It's rare, but
Mhm.
yeah, not for
Eh,
those, not for photo carves.
Yeah, okay. All right. So you're relying 100% on the shellac that you spray.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. This is kind of a general question. Ray Dixon is wondering, has anybody used Spanish elm on the CNC? If you have ever used Spanish elm on the CNC, do a brother a favor and help Ray out. I personally have not used it on the CNC router. Um, it's a completely different material, but I've cut Spanish cedar with regular routers. But no,
Where's that at on the hardness scale?
Spanish cedar is pretty soft. It
Oh,
everything relative. It's softer than maple, but I would say
birch?
harder than red oak. It's definitely harder than birch, but
I wonder what the
it's
grain.
Spanish cedar is pretty dark, and it's a pretty material. It's kind of runs to the orangish brown. It's a nice material, but it's a dark material.
Yeah.
So let's make sure I didn't miss any other questions before we get in there. Okay, so I'm not trying to give away everything that you have in your videos. And again, get over to Nick's YouTube channel and subscribe. There's a link down in the description here. But you basically cover everything in your videos. I only have to scroll down one row and you're doing, here's one photo save to photo carve for Bobby McGee, or just the settings at least, where in 13 minutes you go through taking that photo and everything you did to it to get it into the software and generate your G code.
Yeah.
And uh, all the settings are there, all the cutting depths are there, all the bits, feeds, and speeds, everything is right there. And so I'm going to let you guys adventure over on Nick's channel. And by all means, subscribe and binge watch. Um, there's several photo carve walkthroughs that he does. Just, the last 8 or 9 videos that you put up. Um,
Yeah. I was trying to find new things to film.
yeah.
There's so many sanding things I can do.
Well, that's what I was going to get into next. You have covered sanding better than I think anybody that I have ever seen. And that's kind of sad because it is such an important part of the entire process. Um, it because as you said earlier, a person could take a beautiful carve off the machine, take a nylon brush and clean out all the particles and what have you,
Yep.
and then shoot the shellac, come back, shoot the latex acrylic house paint, and then the minute they grab it with that sandpaper, eliminate all the detail and everything that they've worked for.
Yeah.
So that is a real important topic to bring up. Okay, there we go. An eighth center wants to know. I was going to ask, how many sanders have you gone through, and do you have a favorite now?
Hey, that's a good question, man. So a real easy one. I went from the typical DeWalt orbital that you get, the little, what is it, the 4 incher,
Mm-hmm.
right? Had that for a lot of my photo carves at the beginning, and you can see it in the videos. And then I stepped up to, I used a buddy's Merca for a minute and said, "Oh, I got to get something a little bit better." And I can't afford a Merca. So I went to Amazon and got this bad. Let me grab it real quick. It's just a Max.
Yeah, yeah. There aren't many of us that can afford Merca, but if you can, more power to you, y'all.
So this is the the knockoff, same exact thing. It's got the paddle, buttons, all typical. It doesn't matter really the brand, but this is the Max MAX XT. This one's what the 5 inch,
Hmm.
and you can see I use the heck out of this. The edges are kind of gummed up
Yeah.
or beat up, but still works. And you can see, look at man, the
Yep.
sandpaper is great.
Yep.
This is probably like 6 or 7 photo carves, guys.
Yeah.
One piece of sandpaper.
Yep. And that's the Cubitron extract
Yeah, so
sandpaper.
this is the 120,
Hmm.
and
I'll,
you can
I'll
see me. Yeah.
I'll put a
Anyway,
link to some of that down in a pinned comment, along with that SpeTool part number that you're
yeah,
going to get for me. So you use the Max XT now.
yeah. So that one, I mean, I've had that one um, for a good 3.5 years.
Yeah. Oh. Oh.
And,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a
Okay.
beast.
Well,
Everyday usage.
I wish I'd have talked to you before I spent the money on this brand new Milwaukee sander that I'm looking at over here. But
Hey, I
um,
might get one of those. I don't know.
would you agree that dust extraction is just important as the sander?
Absolutely. Oh yeah, especially for this, mainly because you need to see what you're doing. So that's
Yeah.
another thing too, is the process of the sanding. And you'll see in the videos, keep it moving.
Yeah.
So it's not. There is a lot of things that go into it, and it sucks because it's easy for me because it's just part of the whole thing that I've developed. Not that I developed it. It's just I like to be efficient.
Yeah.
An economy in a way,
Hmm.
and so yeah, I just once I'm trying to figure out where I was going here. Um, the sanding part. So after you get the shellac down in your paint, and the important reason for the shellac is so that the paint doesn't penetrate, but you have a sacrificial coating. I saw
Hmm.
someone earlier, amber I like better. Amber
Yeah, I
shellac,
forgot.
that's okay. Amber I like better because once you get your sanding down, you might not see it at the beginning, but once you get it down, you'll be sanding to the amber and you'll see it.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to know when to stop and you'll sand just past it. So you'll be able to see, and I do it in the videos. I don't have, this isn't a good example because it's not a photo carve, but along the edges of the photo carves, I'll purposely leave as plain MDF
Hmm.
so I can sand to that area and get to a control.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I know that that's what MDF looks like. I know that that's as far as I need to go, and I
Right.
can lean on that part of the sanding
Hmm.
inwards, and then put most of my pressure on a part I can cut off. So
Okay.
sanding, what's technique wise, sanding, I mean, just as like a flat surface, I guess.
Yeah.
So I'll come in and you'll see I'll lean in from the edges, and
Okay.
or or start off at the edge and then pull down and then
Yeah.
sand over. And so I can kind of see how much pressure. It's a pressure thing too,
Yeah.
but it's
So
just
you want to go just through that shellac,
yeah, right through the
and
shellac.
and
So
and don't go past it. Okay.
yeah,
Here, 8 Center is saying, okay, I got confused. I thought you said you didn't like shellac in the beginning, that you went with polyurethane.
yeah, that was because I was going with the spray paint.
Okay. So the polyurethane was just to work with the spray paint. But once you stopped using rattle can spray paints and started using latex house paint,
Yeah,
you no
well
longer
that came
you went
last.
you
The house
went
paint
back to
came last.
shellac.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the because what I was having was the what was it? I was having issues with the clears,
Hmm.
and I believe that they were making my ridges like break. They were making them too brittle,
Okay.
like gummy. Instead of being hard, they were gummy.
Okay.
And so what was happening was I was getting bigger breakouts. This is also when I was still practicing with poplar and other woods too.
Yeah.
So then eventually when I ended up going MDF, the
Hmm.
shellac worked way better.
Okay.
And it
Okay.
gave me something, a visual to sand to and not gumming. And oh, the other thing was it wasn't gumming up my
Paper.
sandpaper. So it was
Yeah.
all kind of part of it.
Yeah.
Let me turn this.
And when it comes to that, I've used shellac in several different states in the U.S. and humidity plays a part in that. And high humidity can make shellac dry slower, or low humidity make it dry faster. So um, there were some times that we'd have to let even shellac sit for 2 or 3 days before it was cured enough that we could uh, work with it. You know,
Yeah, I
otherwise,
force dry a lot of mine.
yeah. Oh, heat gun or something like
Yeah,
that.
I got a little cheapo Home Depot or Harbor Freight little like little um, heater.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, like a rotating heater. And I just set them in front, and then I'll force dry them. But I'm also in California in the summer sun. It don't
Yeah.
take but a little bit.
No,
But I know
no,
what
it
you mean by
doesn't.
the gumming.
hmm Yeah. No, that's nasty. It really is. I hate that. It starts in little bitty pockets, and next thing you know, your whole paper's and you're cleaning it and hitting it with a wire brush and just going through sheet after sheet. It's a mess. So, okay. Um, so of all of the steps involved in this, what would you say is the single most important?
The sanding.
Sanding? Okay.
Yeah, because
So,
I think manually we can duplicate the rest,
mhm,
right? Unless your machine is messing up and you got broken ridges or you made your ridges too narrow.
mhm,
So like in your settings, if you went below 90% line spacing, you're probably gonna break some.
okay.
You know, unless you have a super sharp bit and your machine is really dialed in and your speed, your inch per minute is just right and you're not moving too fast. That's the other thing too is my settings are for a
Yeah.
faster carve. So I have like they're safe and fast.
hmm Well, I
You
was
know.
going to ask you about that because talking with one of my channel members, hint, hint, about it was in the context of laser uh, cutting. And he was saying the biggest mistake he sees people make is going too fast. You have to give the laser time to make the cut,
Mhm.
or you're going to do it in 3 passes instead of 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Would you say that it's similar in that you've got to give the bit time to cut, but not dwell?
Yeah, you're not. You're. It's a fine line. You
hmm
got to dial in your. You'll see. I don't really do a whole lot of the feeds and speeds. I mean, I'll
hmm
put the RPMs. I think that's kind of
hmm
given
Yeah,
for the material, especially if it's coming from the manufacturer. But I won't say 300 inches per minute
right,
because your machine ain't my machine.
right,
And then
exactly.
even my machine isn't the most rigid, but it's a rigid one.
Yeah,
You know. But yeah, and then spindle and things like that play an effect, and how good you're trying, if you don't have something rigid, we're also going real shallow too. So
hmm
you have a little bit of room for some speed.
yeah. You're cutting .07, right?
Yeah,
Generally
at
speaking,
max, yeah,
at
maximum, and that's on
max.
the dark areas. So
hmm
that's pulling out. You're gonna end up breaking a lot of ridges there, anyways, because you're going maximum depth on the dark areas to
hmm
begin with. So if it's like a dark hairline, you're not gonna have a whole lot of ridges left afterwards.
Yeah.
You know.
So you may go .5 or point 0.4, oh 05 or oh 04.
Oh no, no. What I'm saying is that on the ridges that do go the maximum depth, those are going
Oh,
to be the
okay.
dark areas anyways. So you're going to have breakout
Yeah.
by design because those are
Mhm.
meant to. It's like a filling in a tattoo. The tattoo
Yeah.
guy is just going and
Yeah.
filling that area up.
Well,
He's like a
doing this side of my shirt, there's not a lot of ridges there, you know. So, yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Gotcha.
That's what I mean by it. Like understanding the carve, I guess.
Yeah.
Knowing where you're going to get like because it's going to rip through those dark areas.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, if you're going fast in areas that need a lot of detail, slow down the machine.
Yeah.
And it'll slow down itself anyways to a point because it's got to do all the little.
Yeah.
So your jerk settings would probably be the most important in that situation.
Yeah. Acceleration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your acceleration.
But
Yeah.
I mean, it's only going to V carve so fast anyways.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, unless you have your jerk settings up, and that's all based on your machine. So you can go pretty quick, but on the same tone, if you're new, I know what my machine can do. If you're new, don't go fast.
Yeah,
Keep yours at,
yeah.
I'd say 120 inches per minute. I think that's a pretty
I
conservative.
I start and that's the way I was taught to start conservative and work your way up.
Yeah,
You know, if you're, but then again, it's a fine line because you have to decide what your priority is. Is it speed or
yeah,
is it a good end result? Because unlike other projects, once this comes off the machine, other than paint, you're not going to do detail sanding here.
not
You
really.
know, you're going to take like a nylon brush and you're going to scrub it out and to get all the chips and dust and everything out, blow it out with an air nozzle or
Yeah,
vacuum it with a vacuum. Um, but there's no touch-up sanding involved. I mean, you that's it.
yeah,
Whereas
get
on
a good job.
another, like a 3D carve or you're making a picture frame, you can go back in with sandpaper and you can smooth things out. That's not an option with a Photo V-Carve.
Yeah, it makes it tough. There is some detail sanding, but
Mhm.
not in that sense.
Right,
We're talking about preserving details,
right,
you know, and
exactly.
and so that's another, you know, your plan of attack, another
Mhm,
important aspect in the sanding.
mhm.
I don't think a lot of people focus on because they don't know. Like you have to keep that sander moving. So if you don't know what your image looks like, you might sand too far,
Mhm.
you know, or not enough. Not enough is
Yeah.
always not is not your worst problem. Sanding too
Mhm.
far is. And so when you're sanding, especially in places like in faces, if you don't know that, hey, there's supposed to be a highlight here, it's barely a little highlight, but you keep going because you think the whole forehead's supposed to be shiny, or you just washed out all the detail. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
Um,
it's you
Aunt,
have to.
Aunt, Aunt Emma has a scar on her cheek. That's not a mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can get details as little as freckles. I
Mhm.
mean, a real good photo card. I mean, I
Yeah.
sold the Rambo. That's gone. I don't know if you
Oh,
guys
you
saw
did?
that one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
gone.
You have a video here talking about that. And in fact, I'll go ahead and bring it up. This video right here, how to sand a photo carve 101, the woman's face has freckles, and you talk about that.
Yeah,
How
you can
you
keep them, man. You can
you
keep them.
you've got to know what your picture is supposed to look like, and when you get to that point, stop. You know, so
Yeah,
we're taking taking it off the machine. We've cleaned it up. Now we're spraying it with the amber shellac.
yeah,
And then when that's cured, we hit it with the black acrylic or the black house paint. Then after that's dried, we start using the sander 120 grit, and we're using that amber shellac as a gauge
yeah.
to let us know that we've made it through and stop
Mhm.
there.
Stop there.
It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever done any body work, but when you're stripping something with sandpaper, you get through that layer of color, you get through the black paint, and there's gray primer. So you know you've gotten rid of paint. Now, do I want to go to bare metal? Probably not. Let's just stop where we're that. That's kind of what we're doing there. All right, gotcha.
Yeah.
Um,
I see Eighth Sinner here. He asked, like, I don't know what's in shellac. It just works, bro.
uh,
Yeah,
well,
he said that shellac is an alcohol based. As far as what's in it, I know maybe I didn't explain it, but whatever it does, it it works for me. So
yeah.
you know,
Shellac is,
yeah,
believe it or not, it's an excrement from a bug, from a
yeah, that's
beetle,
what, yeah.
and it is it's dissolved in denatured alcohol.
Would Eighth Sinner asked two. For you guys, I would say two coats to start
Mhm.
until you get your sanding past the paint down. Um, but I only go with one coat now.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I
but
would
you've
I
got
would
to.
recommend, or and that's why also you'll see me go with an 80 because I want to get through the paint as quickly as possible. But
Mhm.
120 is a little safer on smaller details.
Yeah,
But going back to it, when we go to the sand, it does take practice, you know. But if you don't know what to practice, you're
Yeah.
not practicing.
Well, there's a learning curve, and
Yeah,
we very rarely get perfection the first time we do anything.
yeah.
You know, so 2 coats of shellac, then you've applied your paint, you've sanded back. Do you do another? Do you do a top coat?
No, so I have to, as far as when I'm done at the end.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I used to. Now I just leave it up to the customer.
Okay.
So typically, the examples I have when I show them something with a sheen on it,
Hmm.
the lighting always kind of throws them off because it
Yeah.
has a sheen. So I show them even when I use like a satin black paint to fill in
Hmm.
the grooves. I didn't like that either. Flat. I don't know if I have one, but flat man just looks so much nicer.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I don't
you
know. I mean,
go. So you go all out with flat. You don't bother with semi-gloss or satin. You just go all out
no,
flat.
long term results I've had. I mean, not saying I don't. If a
Hmm.
customer wants it specifically, I will,
Yeah.
and I'll show them examples. But normally, I don't. I don't remind them that they have options
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
because I want they don't know I know what's best for them.
I learned I learned that long ago. If you give somebody options, they'll take them.
Oh,
You
they'll
know.
take them even if they
Yeah.
don't want them.
Big time. And
So
people think
yeah,
they want options. They think they want options. They really don't.
you got to give them the takeaway. You give that's
Mhm.
that in the graphic design world. You always give them another two options. You give them a crappy one, and then you give them yours.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Um, Mark's got to love the philosophy of using what a beetle threw away to make something good again. Absolutely.
He was waiting for that one.
Those bugs are my spirit animals. Exactly.
It was
You
actually the
know.
whole reason he has me on the show. He's like, I want a reason to talk about shellac, and Nick's the only guy using it.
Oh no, 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 no. I wanted you on the show because what you're doing is stellar work. And
Yeah, that's all right.
when so I admired that from the beginning. But when I looked up and I saw that at the time you had 400 and some odd subscribers, I was like, we can do better than that, man. People got to see this guy.
But it's
Um,
also a specialized, it's a specialized CNC thing. So like a lot of your guys' channel, and I'm okay with it. It doesn't hurt my feelings, but like I understand why, comparably, even if it was somebody that started a channel that did great work, but wasn't just specialized in photo carves, I could see why they would have more. And I understand it.
well,
It's not.
but the whole thing is this is something that people want. I get asked all the time about Photo V carving,
Well,
and
there's
I get
430 of them that want it.
and I get asked all the time about. We haven't touched on it this time. Maybe I'll ask you to come back. We haven't even touched on your negative space carvings, like the Lion of Judah behind you.
Oh man,
That that kind of thing. Those kinds of carvings are I'm also asked a lot about.
let's save
Um,
that one for the next one.
yeah, and that's for everybody who wants to make friends and influence people and sound more important than you really are. Those are called negative space carvings. Everybody asks me about, well, I want to carve away the background and leave the letter standing proud. Okay, that's a negative space carving. You're carving away the negative space and then painting it a different color to highlight the difference between the two
Yeah,
lines. And darker always goes further back, lighter always comes to the front. Always.
yeah. Well, I mean, that comes down to just my graphic design background, where
Hmm.
I'm trying to get people to look at your whatever,
Hmm.
right? So we have to have stuff that fills the rest of it,
Hmm.
and sometimes you have to put little line, whatever it is. But it's just getting an eye for, and I think a lot of it also helps you with your photos.
Yeah.
When you start getting an eye for, okay, I know that this is going to look good. It's going to stand on its own, and
Yeah.
so you can eliminate a lot of the headache and design errors by
Hmm.
just simplifying a lot of you know the
Yeah.
information.
Well, also trust your eye. You know what you like.
Yeah,
You can identify what looks good to you. Now, if you have a client or customer, you have to, you know, bow to their wishes, I guess you could say.
yeah,
But you know what looks good and what doesn't look good.
yeah,
Sometimes it's easier to identify what looks bad than it is what looks good. So
Yeah.
I'm a recovering real estate agent, and I learned very, very fast that when I had buyers come in, and this is what I mean when I say people don't like options, because think of all the different styles of house in the world that there are. You ask them, what are you looking for? They just kind of stumble. So it's easier to identify what you don't like than it is what you do like.
Yeah.
So, do you want stairs? No. Okay. So we're looking at single floor now. All right.
Yeah.
That's a big
Boom.
help. You know, so it's kind of the same thing with what we're doing. You know
Yeah.
what you like, you know what you don't like. And sometimes it's easier to identify that negative than it is the positive. It's kind of a twisted way of looking at it. But
Yeah.
I try to tell folks if you're getting the result you want and you like it, you did it right.
Yeah.
So,
So I
um,
mean, it does go all into play though, as far as like for photos and having an eye for what looks good as a carve. And
mhm.
I mean, I'm sure when you guys are doing your really cool like 2.5D sculptings and stuff, and when you're looking at what like new people do, you're like, oh, that's not going to look good. And then you go on to either explain to them why it's not going to look good, or you're going to let them go ahead and just do it and
um,
have them learn that way. But
I
it's like
walk
that,
a
it's that same way.
yeah, I walk a fine line
Yeah.
because I don't want to talk down to anybody,
Yeah.
and I don't want to come off as Mister Know-it-all. There are times I'll ask them, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Or "Have you done this before?" That's the one that gets them every. Have you done this before? No, this will be my first attempt. Okay, what made you decide to use pine? Well, I
Yeah.
have it. Okay, fair enough. Is this going to be a practice piece? Well, yeah, but I was hoping to put it up on my wall. Okay. Are you open to failure? Because pine is hard to get a good result with. Then they're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I'm not coming in and telling them, don't use pine, because I still, look at me, I still get, okay, boomer, you don't know what you're
Yeah.
talking about. Okay. But some people, no, I'm going to do this. Okay.
There's a theory behind everything. They just don't want to
Oh,
know
yeah.
it. And,
Well,
and it's crazy when you understand it.
well, I,
Well, like like more of a picture is painted when you're doing things.
yeah,
I don't know how you guys visualize things, but that's how when I
yeah,
understand them, they look like pictures.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, practice a lot. Practice a lot. And if you come up with something you don't like, try to identify what you don't like about it, what you can do to change that.
Yeah.
What would you say? What do you think is the most common mistake made?
Not sanding enough.
Really, not
That's the
sanding
most.
enough.
Yeah, they'll quit before they get far. Well, yeah, they either don't sand enough, and obviously they sand too far. But it's also I think a lot. The other mistake is wood selection.
Okay.
I think they're going too nice too early,
Yeah.
and
So,
so then they'll end up. I don't know, man. There's just so many easy mistakes.
yeah.
Spray paint. That's another. That's
Yeah.
a big no.
There
Like
you
if they can
go.
just get rid of the spray paint, that's going to eliminate a lot of your sanding issues. So if
Yeah.
we so coming in as a rookie, the spray paint is honestly for you guys probably the thing that's going to hurt you the most.
Really.
I
Okay.
think so because let's just assume we got past picking a good picture. Send me
Yeah.
your picture because, like I was saying earlier, I can help you get through all that,
Yeah.
but I can't get you past the spray paint part. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like if you
And you
can't,
got to learn. I mean, there's got to
yeah.
be somebody out there going, I do spray paint all the time. Okay.
And the hard part, man, is that everybody gets a good spray paint one,
Uh huh.
and then they'll
Yeah.
film it, and
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, that's awesome. Now
Right.
do
Now do it
30
again. Exactly.
on that same piece
Uh,
of wood. Like flip it over, do it again. You can't even get the same.
how can you tell if sanded enough? Not tried it, but isn't shellac still hard to see under black, or is it more of a feeling?
It's a little bit of both. So you're going to start noticing it. Also, the color of your sawdust.
Yeah. Well,
If you're moving quick, that black is going to turn into another. It's going to turn another color. So if you're
yeah.
jamming, I mean, like you'll
Yeah.
start noticing. It's been a while for me, but the grooves will start getting filled,
Hmm.
and if it's not black, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
And so
So,
there's a lot of things, but these are all things I see because it's slowed down for me. So at
mhm.
the beginning, your second coat of shellac will help you, and
Yeah.
obviously a smoother grit sandpaper, 180, 150.
Hmm. Okay.
Let your top coat really dry really well. That'll also make you don't want to gum up your like. I mean, you saw I was saying this is a bunch of photo carves, and I mean you'll see there's no gummed up anything in it.
Yeah.
I don't, and not to say I don't get them because there's times when I'm rushing, and you'll
Hmm.
see it in the videos. I talk about it. Like, oh, I rushed. I went too fast on this one.
Yeah.
I didn't let it dry all the way, and this is the result. Even on good sandpaper, you'll have that
Hmm.
problem. But if you eliminate all the issues,
Hmm.
I can help you get a fantastic finish, um,
Okay.
pretty easily. Obviously, with a little bit of practice. But if you
Hmm.
know what to look for, and the shellac is, you'll see I'll move real quick around the faces
Hmm.
with the sand, and I don't, I like
Well,
to do them in one shot because I think it looks cool.
yeah.
But in reality, like on, those are, um, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I do 'em- I do one shot them a lot. To be honest with
Yeah.
you, every once in a
Um,
while I'll go back and clean them up. It's because if you keep it moving, you
mhm.
can do it in one shot.
Yeah.
Is what I'm
Well,
saying.
that's the secret. You got to keep that sander moving.
Yeah,
If you're holding in one place, you're taking out detail.
yeah.
F. Cupo says, I did one spray paint and said that's too much work. The last one I did was shellac and gel stain, no sanding. Hey,
Hey, if you can reproduce it, that's great.
yep.
Yeah, this is just one way to do it, and this is the
Hmm.
one way to do it that I've kind of gotten down for reproduction,
Yeah,
reproducing multiple.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's no wrong way to do it. Is if you
Oh,
like,
no, 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 no. There are a lot of wrong ways to do it.
well, if the customer likes it,
Yeah, I've had a couple of those. There's a lot of wrong ways to do it. And you don't know
yeah.
my luck. I mean, if there's a way I can mess it up, I'll find it.
I was
I'll
just saying that
find
there's
that way.
someone in the comments that said that they did a gel stain,
Hmm.
and I'm assuming they wiped off. And
Uh-huh.
I've seen guys do that. I've had a lot of people reach out to me and say, "Hey, can you try wiping them off?" I end up sanding them anyways, so I just don't do that.
Yeah.
But I find that I take out too much of the color in. So I've done it those ways. And if you're happy with your result on the gel stain and everything else, that's awesome. What I found is I want to keep the ridge as much as possible. So what
Right.
happens is when you put the gel stain on, it doesn't coat the top of the ridge. So you end up having to sand down to the darkness anyways.
Ah, okay. I see what you're saying. So it's not sticking to it,
It's not
to the
sticking
side.
because
Yeah, where it
you've
needs to
sealed it
stick.
too. You've also
Yeah.
sealed it. So I mean, I guess if you gel stained it without the shellac, but then the problem you're going to have is you're going to end up having to
Yeah.
sand
Yeah.
more of the ridge off. So it was kind of counterproductive for me. But that might work on hardwoods.
Yeah.
So on a
Yeah.
hardwood, that might be beneficial. I'm not going to test 24. I got to laminate 24-inch wide pieces of wood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's not happening, bro. not
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
not for memorial pieces
Yeah.
that I can't make mistakes on.
Well, yeah, and you
You
got too
know?
many different grain patterns, and then you have seams, and you've got, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's
Um,
just a weird. It's just too many multipliers. And so yes, we can do these on a big laminated thing of maple and birch or whatever,
mhm.
poplar too,
Yeah.
whatever, even on the easier ones. But that you're going to run across finish issues. So
Yeah.
I'm strictly talking on MDF,
Yep.
maybe poplar. I'll extend it to poplar
Okay.
for results
For
wise.
those of you who partake, it's center. So keep it moving. Use your eyes to compare the real picture and pay attention.
Yeah. And I go over that a lot in the videos. Um, yeah. Black and white images a start. Yeah. Those work best. Um, yeah, we're just trying to create contrast. And so, even in some of the videos on the photo selection, we went over it a little bit, but that contrast even is separating the the subjects from the background.
What I'm laughing at is this is an inside joke. Ellen, Madra 3212. I think I would like Photo V-Carve. Sanding is the best. We tease her about being our resident sander. She does like to sand. She actually likes to sand. Barry Lane says there are piles of firewood out that are made of the wrong way projects. Yeah, but I turn those into cutting boards. All of my end grain cutting boards are made from scrap wood. I call my planer the eraser because I figure if at first you don't succeed, eliminate any evidence of the attempt, and I don't care how thin the wood is, it'll end up in a cutting board. I can make an end grain cutting board with it. Proof of that concept, I'm getting ready to make another cutting board, and one of the pieces of wood I'm going to be using are ebony piano keys.
Oh, nice.
So, all right. Michael Ludwig wants to know, did you ever try vinyl on top?
No,
No. Uh, because
I mean
again,
it just doesn't make sense.
think of the thousands of little peaks you got to pull that vinyl off of now, Mike.
Now, when you asked me earlier,
Hmm.
I did think about times. Not that I've ever used it, but I was trying to think, why would someone ask that? Where would the application for that be? There is an application for it.
Hmm.
It's if you were doing a really super large spaced project
Hmm.
that was already maybe stained or painted that you didn't want to have to redo the top on.
Okay.
Right. Or like a negative. I guess you could, but your spacing would have to be wide enough it would justify the work
Well,
you would need to peel off in between them.
well,
You know?
looking at the two behind you to the other side, those were painted white, and then you did the negative carve,
Oh,
right?
these ones?
Yeah, those two there.
No, 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 no. That was opposite. So typically, when I like on these ones, I carve them all,
Mhm.
spray them all black, and then roll them white.
Oh, you went back and rolled it white.
Yeah, I
Okay.
roll white or different colors.
Okay. And did you
So
do the same over there on the motorcycle on the other
the
side?
more, yeah, everything, yeah, it's all. I
Oh,
had the
okay.
roller here, but yeah,
So you
it's
did
all by the little Red Devil roller, little
the
red
little
nap.
miniature short nap rollers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the cabinet one, man, those things are awesome on MDF. I'm trying to. I thought
Okay.
I had one up here with me. But
Okay.
it's just a little pink 4 inch,
Yeah.
made by It's made by Wooster. They had them at Home Depot,
Yeah.
and those ones, you don't have to press real hard. You just let the weight of the roller go,
Yeah.
and the depth never goes past the top, man. It just so it just makes it easy. It just I used to use a lot more of the Aura mask,
Hmm.
but it's just easier.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm cheap.
Hey,
I'm cheap and
that works.
easy. I'm cheap
Yeah.
and easy, Mark.
Hey, identifying the problem is the first step to recovery, my friend.
So I'm trying to show people like people. I guess they're wondering like, how does he get? No, first of all, I don't think they look all that amazing. 'Cause
Mhm.
I think what you guys do look amazing. This is like fast, cheap. I don't even talk
Well,
about it because it's so cheap and fast that I don't even want to like tell you how cheap
but
and fast it is.
see, I had a lesson taught to me years ago by my grandfather who got me into woodworking, and he said, "You can never know everything. So
Yeah.
what you have to do is surround yourself with the people who know the things you don't." And
Yeah.
you're one of them. I've never done photo V carving.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know the process. I have to go to the person who does. And I'm willing to, more than willing, to share you with the folks out here so they can ask you the questions because you're the experienced person.
I would
So
say, I mean, if you're looking to try it again or try it for the first time, if you can you can brush it in with a cheap paintbrush. Avoid you just get yourself a can of flat black, cheap house paint,
mhm,
water based,
yep.
and shellac. You can brush them both in. I have a chip brush that I specifically use. It's an old one for my shellac.
Mhm,
The bristles are hardened, so it gets in the grooves a little better. I
yeah.
talk about that in one of my videos,
Mhm,
and there's even a difference in the chip brushes.
yeah.
So you can
Well,
buy the ones that come in the box. It's like
mhm.
$8 for the box. Those are better than the individuals. Don't ask me
Yeah.
why.
They just are.
They just are. Yeah, I mean, and that's how much I use them, and that's how much I want you guys to succeed. That I'm willing to tell you exactly.
Let me give you a little pro tip on selection of paint. If you go into Lowe's, Home Depot, it doesn't matter, any of them, go to their paint department. You can actually buy 1 pint sample pots. So you look at all the colors on the wall over there, you can get a 1 pint sample bottle of any of those colors. They run $4, $5, $6 maybe,
Hmm.
but they're interior latex house paint. And that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you ask for a matte or flat black. I mean, you might have to go get a sample off of the wall, take them the thing. Yeah, I want a sample pot of this. They'll
Yeah.
mix it up for you, and off you go.
Yep.
I've done it. I've done it several times. There is one paint store here that has exterior grade in the
Yeah.
sample pots. The rest of them you have to buy a minimum of a quart of exterior.
I'll give you guys another pro tip on top of that pro tip.
Mhm.
Go find your mom and pop paint store and trade them a photo card for a gallon of black mist tinted paint.
Yeah.
They got so much of that. They'll they'll sell it to you for five. You got a whole gallon. You could do 1,000
Mhm.
thousand. Maybe not 1,000, but you can get a lot of because we spray a lot of black. But I mean, that's honestly, I would go in and just tell them what you're doing, and maybe even make them a little carve, a little V carve, whatever.
Yep.
I take stuff like this all the time with me. Obviously it comes for free because I got the free MDF, but
Mhm.
like just the negative stuff, and even like just black. So
Mhm.
this one was painted black after the fact too. So I could have just painted it black and then carved it, but
Mhm.
it was an afterthought, But
Yeah.
that also gave me an opportunity to try different colors. So I got a board up
Yeah.
there that's got different ones. But yeah, I mean, just different,
Yeah.
little simple, easy to read,
Mhm.
get your message across, whatever it is. But yeah, I
Uh-huh.
mean, black and white tattoos look great too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the same idea,
Okay.
they do all that, but
Well, I could seriously keep going, but I know your other half, your better half, has plans for you this afternoon, so I better let you go. I don't want to get you in trouble.
I appreciate it. No, man, it worked out. Everything worked out great.
Yeah, well, but I could easily carry on for another 2 hours, but I won't do that to you or to them. So look, long story short, if you're looking for information on how to do photo V-carves, how to set up the photo, how to get it imported into your software, how to use the photo V-carve toolpath, get yourself over to Big Nick's Designs. As again, there's a link down in the description of this video and or this live stream. I will get the part number from you on that speed tool, and I will throw those other links in a pinned comment on this live stream. Any last words? Anything you wanted to talk about? Anything you wanted to bring up or say?
No, man. Well, yeah, actually, thank you. And thank God for the opportunities. Also, everybody that's in the chat, thanks for reaching out, man. It's a boost of encouragement. I try to. This is really a fulfilling opportunity I got to walk into. So, as I go out in the day and hand out these carvings and stuff, and give out folks the photo, we do a lot of memorial photo carves we give away for free. But that's all because, and I think that's where you're going earlier with the donated stuff.
Mhm.
Um, that material doesn't get donated. I buy that,
Yeah.
but I subsidize that with the free stuff, right? So, but we donate a lot of the photo carves, and that fills me back up. So like this
Yeah.
is encouraging to me that you guys want to learn this stuff and are appreciative. So that as I'm always out in the streets trying to encourage others, you guys, this is in reverse an encouragement. So
I
thank
see.
you,
I see your
and
posts. I see your posts.
we're not ashamed of the gospel, but God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day. And if you have any questions, whether you're a subscriber or not, reach out. I'm
you,
always
the,
willing to help out.
your email address is in the description,
Okay, hands
and you're a
down.
brave person for putting it out there. I'm telling you, because you're going to get hammered. You're going to
All right,
get
we'll see.
hammered. Is there anything that what's the question I didn't ask you that I should have?
I think I mean, we, I don't know, man. I think we hit them all. I just like to talk more about more than others.
Well, usually people have something that they want to say that they want to get out to other folks.
If you're on TikTok, I know a lot of you guys aren't on TikTok. It's a newer thing or
Mhm,
whatever. Look up OG Big Nick.
mhm.
So yeah, that's it. Other than that, find
Okay.
me on Instagram. It's all there. It's all the
Yep.
same stuff.
The
I'm an
links are
old
all
guy,
down
but
in the description.
it all leads to the same place.
Yep.
So yeah, but if you're on, I spend a lot more live time on TikTok
Mhm.
and a lot more stuff there. So if you want to be more interactive and things like that, I'd like to be more of that on YouTube, I guess too, but
Mhm.
for some reason I'm not. But anyways,
That's okay. We'll see
just
if we can
anyway.
get those numbers up and give you a little bit of incentive to get back over here. Not saying nothing. Not saying nothing. Just that your last post on YouTube was 3 weeks ago. No pressure, Nick. Thank you for joining us this afternoon, Nick. Thank you for being here and thank you for being you. Next week, I have no idea what I'm going to do, so we're going to find out together. Channel members, tomorrow evening, more on that special little something that is members only. We're going to be Mike Bernasconi is going to be featured. We're going to take some vectors and we're going to make 3D logos. It's going to be fun. Hit the post/membership tab for the link to tomorrow's members only live stream, 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Promises to be a good time. I don't know what I'm going to do next Sunday. Again, we'll figure it out as we go. But until then, y'all take care. Have a great rest of your Sunday.
Thanks, Ed.